Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and this is my road in a field right now to nowhere. It sort of ends. But this will end with a short-term rental cabin. I'll probably start that later this summer, maybe into the fall. So we'll leave the details of that to later, and that'll sort of be a separate project. But right now I need to finish the road. So before I start doing what I'm going to do next, I will summarize where I've been and what I plan to do now and in the next few weeks. So this area here where the grass has started to grow up, I shaved it down. I used a lot of the clay material underneath to build up the road base where I wanted it, and then put the topsoil back on. I've not seeded it, so the grass here is just the natural grass seed and roots that existed already. I don't plan on seeding it. I don't think I'm going to need to. My experience with the topsoil around here is that generally, if you're patient, it'll grow back by itself in a reasonable time and rather thick. Same over here on this little strip here, just native topsoil without seeds. This here where you can see some clover, because I had to reclaim an area where I got a little bit too far into the wetland boundary, which is basically at the bottom of that hill. In Vermont, you need to stay 50 feet away. So when I checked with the state, I had encroached upon it a bit. When I first put the road in, I had to reclaim that, basically put it back the way it was. And I did seed that, and I used sort of a pasture mix, which had a lot of red clover in it. You see that. So that came in really strong. So in the playlist, there are several videos where I had put the road base in and manipulated the road where I wanted it and put in the drainage. But at the time, it was really soft. Last year was really wet for a summer, and then I tried to do some work into the fall where nothing dries out much at all. But I was able to spread out probably more than I thought I was going to. But the trade-off for that was most of what I laid down, it did not compact well and it pumped. You can see here ruts where I drove. But again, my experience with this clay, and probably any clay I'm guessing, is if time is not a consideration, then all is good, because this has firmed up as firm and as hard-packed as anything you could probably do with any kind of like a vibratory roller or anything like that. So this basically is set the winter. You can see some of the spring runoff. There are some minor channels that have developed, but not bad. This area here, you can see the dozer track still in there. This I did very late in the fall, so the grass hasn't had as much of a chance to grow back. In fact, none of it had in the fall. This has all been this spring. So even with that short amount of time here, and we're talking the end of May, it's done fairly well. I had a short video where this was the last section of shaping that I had to do to remove some excess clay, which I did right here, and I basically deposited it there. So you can tell the road here looks quite a bit different than over there, where it's a lot smoother. Went over the winter and smoothed out. There's some nice deer tracks. So this was another area which was really soft. I had added material to it, and it was just too wet to compact and to sort of solidify. But over the winter it did. So when I go over this with the box blade, I'm guessing it's gonna be as firm as you could expect it. Maybe not quite as firm as the native soil, because that is really hard packed in there. So in this road I put in 3 culverts. We passed one, which is not too significant there. This one, a bit more drainage, so I have a larger rock area inlet. The outlet I haven't really dressed up yet, other than just a little bit of rocks there for the dissipation. You can see a channel it created. So you can see the drainage here. A lot of silt is deposited in the ditch. I have a little bit of topsoil up there, again, to bring over here and to smooth that out. A lot of topsoil here to the right, which is where I pushed most of it when I was clearing the way to put the road in. Here's a bit more washout. So I'm guessing we did have, I think it was in the fall, we had sort of minor flooding in the state of Vermont. And I think this ditch here just overflowed, and then, like, say right here, I think some of the water came over across the road. Here's a bit of a washout. What I may do here is I may find some smaller stones and fill in this area before I top this with gravel. So towards the end here, again, the end of the road here was sort of the end of the season, the end of the fall, as far as reasonable work in the dirt for my area, and it was really soft. So I laid material down here, but it's not pretty. It was very soft, but this has really hardened up. I'm not even sure if I was to try to compact it. I don't think that would have worked last year either. But I'm really in no hurry. There is no time constraint. This is all my own project, all my own property, all my own expense, all my own time. So I can do with that time as I choose. And for the most part, when I have the opportunity, I'll just let time do its thing rather than spend extra time and money to try to hurry stuff up. So at the end of this road, I'll probably curve around, hug the edge of the tree line, and then over where that ash tree is. I think I'm pointing right towards it. Apple tree there, ash tree there, and the other two are ash as well. But somewhere up there will be some sort of a cabin for a rental. I have a tree line which goes another ash tree to the right there, and then all the way to basically eventually block the view between the two residences, or between my house and this short-term rental here with fir trees. And a decent view of Jay Peak and the surrounding mountains. This is in northern Vermont, part of the Appalachian Trail. So the project here at hand today is to use the box blade and just take this base clay and smooth it out so that it is in a decent shape to lay a gravel top to it. The gravel I'm going to use is 1.5 inch crushed gravel. So for us here, crushed gravel is basically bank run gravel with lots of field stones, such as these, that go through a crusher. And I believe, I'm 90% sure on this, that they will add quarry material, crushed rock, to the crushed gravel so that it is in the right proportion to meet, say, ASTM standards or whatever standards they use at my gravel pit here. So when we talk about gravel, it's going to contain fines, it's going to contain sand, small rocks, all the way up to 1.5 inch crushed rock, and in the right proportions. Relatively inexpensive. I think it hovers maybe around I don't know what the current price, $6 to $7 a ton. The smaller you go, we can also have 3/4 inch crushed gravel. That's a bit more expensive. It takes more machinery time, more machinery wear and tear to make that. But for now, just to spread this out, I'm going to see how it goes. I don't think I'm going to be too concerned about crown at this point. I will do it if I can, but I think I'm really going to be more concerned about putting the crown in when I put the gravel on. One, that's really where it only matters, because that's what the surface is going to be. And the gravel, I think, is going to be much easier to grade out in the profile that I want than this clay material is going to be. So the other project I'll have to do in the next few weeks, you can see the topsoil there. I'm going to spread that in that little area where I did some work this spring, taking that clay off. And then I have windrows of topsoil left and right to fill in left and right of the road and sort of finish that off and make it look nice. I will have extra topsoil, but I'm not going to let that go to waste. That's always valuable. I think in any area of the country, good topsoil is a hot commodity. So any extra I have, I'm just going to pile up somewhere, probably over here at the edge of the field. It takes a year or so. Again, time is on my side. And any grass clumps will decompose, and it'll be nice fine topsoil, it will have rocks in it. So if I do want to screen it out, I just have to screen it. I don't think I would have to use a vibratory screen. I think those are generally used only when you have clumps of sod and roots that really need that to be shaken to separate that organic matter from the soil. So this is probably a good place as any. As you can see here where the light material is, which is the native clay that I've spread, and then the topsoil to the left. Right now the road base and the topsoil and grass is the same level. Obviously if I put 6 to 8 inches of gravel on here, the road is going to be 6 to 8 inches higher than the adjacent topsoil. So I will use either that material there, or I have a large pile that has aged for actually several years, which is good topsoil, that I'll probably use because it's easy to grade, and then finish off the edge of the gravel road to blend it well into the field on either side. Here my plan is, even though it does show significant flow from our flood and from the spring runoff, the plan here is just to bring grass, mowable grass, right up to the edge of the gravel road and not have a defined ditch, a line ditch or anything like that. So these are the new attachments, my new ones for spring of 2024 that I purchased. Grapple, clam, grapple, rock. There's not really a rock grapple. Those I think have longer tines on the bottom. So root rake, a root bucket, I guess. Root grapple. I will spend some more time with that. I had a short video on both that and the box blade, which is the star of the show today, where I sort of just went over what they are, their features, and initial use. And this I've played with a little bit more, you can sense that video, on gravel, trying to get an idea how it operates, because I've never used one before. I don't know if I'm going to have to use the rippers, the shanks. I don't believe so, because I'm just looking to sort of knock down the high spots and make it level so that it's a good base to put the gravel on. I'm not looking to do any significant grading or contouring. I really did that with a dozer when I laid this out. So I'm really looking for fine-tuning, but they're available if for some reason I have absolutely no luck with just the cutting blade. The other question I had is this hydraulic top link. So before I start, I'll show you what I mean by this. I think this is going to be a good length, because with that fully extended going forward, it is tipped sort of like that. So this one is hitting hard, and this one is just barely off the leading edge. So I think that'll work well. So if I completely extend the top link, it's going to be in sort of a grading, smoothing position. And then as I feather that in, then the leading cutting edge will dive into the earth a little bit more and grab more material. That seems to how it worked out well. As far as do I have the right length and stroke on the top link, I think what I have will work. That big rock was rather heavy. So I'm guessing that rock, well, I know the rock was below the gravel. There was a little bit of gravel I had spread here maybe 2 years ago when I first started this project, sort of the entrance. But it was screen gravel, it was not crushed. So there's our bigger rocks, it was 3" minus. So that's probably a 3" and everything else is minus. But that big one I dug up there that I was able to capture in here and then bring over there was part of the same fieldstone supply of all the clay around here. So this area here was the biggest challenge for me, and really has been. It's where the transition from the crown of the road, a little bit of a ditch or a swale, and then up to meet my driveway. As you probably noticed, I was taking a fair amount of material here, which is good because I think I have excess material here. Because what I'd rather have with removing this material is the transition from the road is not so much this, it's a little bit more gradual that way. So I'm happy with that. On this side of the driveway, it's not as bad. My driveway is relatively level, or the road is, and then the town road is sloping down this way. So up here, it's a relatively flat transition. On that side of the road or driveway, there is that bit of a gully. And all these angles and this sharp change of grade here does present a challenge, at least for me, with the box blade. So I'll spend a little bit more time and freshen this up, but as far as videoing, I think I've done the bulk of the job. I'll just review some ideas here on my tractor and we'll close this out. So overall, I'm very happy. It went quicker than I thought. The blades were able to grab the hard packed clay without much issue. I didn't have to use the rippers at all. Basically, I've done all that I want to do with this road until I sort of put the gravel top on and then do some of the more fine tuning. There's some more of that screen gravel. But I'm still considering this top link. Right now the top link is fully extended, relatively level ground. And you can see it, because the front plate here looks like it's angled significantly up. But with the tips, this one obviously is dragging on the ground. This one is just above it. But I think even with that angle of attack, sometimes the front blade would dig in a bit much. So I'll still use it some more, but I'm thinking I might benefit from a slightly longer stroke top length than that one is. As far as the tractor goes, 70 horsepower. This is 8 foot wide, which I like. I'm glad I got the 8 foot wide. It has about 10 inches beyond the tires on each side, so I was able to keep the tires on the road and knock down the little windrow just on the edge of the road without my tires going into the ditch. I think my tires almost went into the ditch once, but for the most part I was able to keep the tractor on the road and then grade a little bit beyond the road with the box blade. I like that. Tractor 70 horsepower. I have both front and rear tires loaded, and I have this on the front, which weighs about 950 pounds or so. So I know these construction R4 tires are not the greatest for traction without chains. I'm still happy with them. I wouldn't want to put ag tires on for the nature of the work that I normally do. I'm not sure in this condition with a really hard soil if the R1s would have better traction or not. But in those cases where I was spinning, I really just didn't have this adjusted properly, so I don't think traction is going to be an issue for me. But if you have other ideas, things I could do to make this job better, easier, I'll leave a comment. I'd appreciate that, and I appreciate you watching this video. We'll see you next time. Thanks.